Hello, my name is Gianmarco Malke, and today I'm going to shed light on the struggles of young Latinx women as portrayed in both film and television by comparing two characters played by actress America Ferrera. The characters I will be comparing are Ana Garcia from Real Women Have Curves in 2002 and Ugly Betty, and Betty Suarez and Ugly Betty, which ran from 2006 to 2010. Before I proceed, allow me to explain why I look like this. For starters, this is supposed to be a rough imitation of how America Ferrera looked in the first episode of Ugly Betty, when the character started working at Mode, a fashion magazine, as an assistant. She showed up for her job interview wearing a huge poncho, crooked glasses, and big messy hair. Everyone there underestimated her and laughed behind her back because of the way she dressed, her size, her huge optimistic smile. But Betty would continue to prove them wrong every single day while looking something like this. Another reason why I chose to dress up like this is because I wanted to echo Anna's attitude about body image and how she resented having to cover herself up due to the judgment of other people. Like when she had her boyfriend Jimmy look at her naked, or when she began admiring herself naked in the mirror, or even when she had the other women in the factory take off their clothes and not be ashamed of their bodies but be proud of the curves. I'm forcing you to look at me like this and accept me like this, similar to how both women were looked at and wanted to be accepted. The main thing that both Anna and Betty have in common is that they are both young Latinx women who struggle to love themselves and earn respect in the United States. They share a number of other things in common, but their different experiences are not exactly the same. For all the similarities they have, the two women also have a fair amount of differences in how they struggle. The two women are put down by different people about their looks. In Real Women Have Curves, Anna's mother Carmen is constantly criticizing her daughters, among other women, about their weight. In Ugly Betty, she is criticized by her physical appearance and lack of fashion sense by her colleagues at Mode, as well as other people in the fashion business. The key parallel here is that Anna has to deal with body shaming mainly within her own home, and that Betty deals with it not only outside of home, but within her career field. The two women also have different outlets of encouragement to counterbalance the body shaming they face. Anna gets most of her encouragement from outside of her home, while Betty gets hers from inside of her own home. In Real Women Have Curves, Anna's teacher encourages her to consider applying for colleges, despite her claims that the family cannot afford it. He goes out of his way in visiting the Garcia household multiple times throughout the film to convince Anna's parents to reconsider their stance on college. In Ugly Betty, she is encouraged by her father, her sister, and her nephew to persevere the ridicule and surpass expectations. An important thing to note is that Anna still receives support from other family members, but they aren't as vocal due to the heavy influence of Carmen and them not wanting to upset her. Another difference between them is how they deal with body image issues. Whereas Anna is defiant and outspoken, Betty almost never explicitly stands up for herself. Throughout most of the series, she tries her best to ignore the criticisms and not let it get in the way of her career goals. Betty stays true to herself with every contribution she makes to the fashion industry, and never changes for anyone else. Meanwhile, Anna talks back to Carmen several times in the film about how women are more than their looks and what's between their legs. As for living situation, Anna lives with a huge family in Los Angeles, and Betty only lives with 3 other family members in Queens, New York. Betty's mother had passed away a few years prior, and the rest of the Suarez family is back in Mexico. Anna wanted freedom from her domineering mother, but Carmen values keeping the Garcia family together rather than allow Anna to move away and attend college. Carmen even goes as far as to guilt trip Anna by accusing her of abandoning the family and not loving them anymore. Betty, on the other hand, has no real issues with living at her childhood home, nor does she feel any pressure to leave her family in the first 2 seasons. She moves out in the 3rd season and gets her own apartment in the city to zero fanfare from her family. Betty didn't move out as an act of retaliation. She did it simply because she felt it was the right time. Ironically, Anna ended up moving to New York for college to be free of her family, and 4 years later, Ugly Betty premiered with America Ferrera living comfortably among her family in New York. When it comes to marriage and relationships, Carmen is constantly pushing for Anna to find a man who will marry her so that she doesn't end up like Estela, Anna's older sister. Upon learning that Anna has had premarital sex, Carmen loses hope for her, slaps her, and calls her a whore. In contrast to those beliefs, Betty's father is in no hurry for Anna to get married and thinks she's too young for marriage, even though Betty is 4 years older than Anna. Betty's sex life is not brought up much, if at all, during the series. It doesn't seem like a young woman's sex life is a topic of interest for the Suarez family, like it is for the Garcia family. Betty was able to have public relationships more often, whereas Anna had to hide her boyfriend from Carmen and date him in secret. While she may still live with her family, Betty has much more freedom than Anna. In fact, she starts out the series with the same opportunities that Anna had available to her, and worked so hard for since the beginning of the film. In conclusion, both characters serve as role models for young Latinx women who want to fight back against body shaming, old-fashioned norms, and the proverbial glass ceiling that stands in their way of success in the U.S.